Okay, guys, first off, I don't even know where to start. I have looked up this movie. Actually, I looked up this movie when I was young, and I used to have a very strong obsession with it, but thank goodness I am over it now, and frankly, I saw this movie last night here on YouTube. And frankly, I do not ever want to watch it again because of how terrible it is. This is a review and rant of the 1983 adaptation of Stephen King's Cujo. Really, I don't even know where to start. That's how bad this movie is. If there's any horror or suspense in this film, it is practically non-existent. This movie is filled with terrible acting, horrible animal attack effects, and slow, boring, padded out filler. The plot is all over the place. All the actors seem like they've been pulled off the street. The only exceptions out of the cast were Dee Wallace from E.T. the Extraterrestrial and Danny Pintaro, who was 6 years old when he made this movie. This movie is so bad. I I don't even know where to begin. At the beginning of the movie, they go into the climax where the dog gets bitten by the rabid bat so fast. When you see the beginning, you'll say to yourself, wait, did I just skip a part in this movie? That's what you'll that's what you'll confuse yourself with when you see the beginning of this film. It happens so fast. There is no build up anywhere. Everybody is all over the place. The attacks that Cujo makes are very, very poorly made. One such example is when Cujo tries to attack Donna Trenton and her son Tad in their broken down Ford Pinto vehicle. And you can tell you can tell in this scene that there are completely edited sequences in that scene. I mean, the least the filmmakers could do, the least the cameraman could have done was keep the camera still instead of going to angles so very fast. I mean, the angles in that scene are so quick, you'll find your head spinning at how fast it is. Even the dog attacks. I know I already mentioned them, but I need to mention them more, so bear with me. The animal attacks that Cujo does after he has become rabid, they are just so poorly well done. So poorly done. I'm sorry, guys. They are so poorly done. It's like you'll be asking yourself, was the trainer even trying to train these dogs to be vicious? And there's a subplot about the little boy who is afraid of monsters that are in his closet. Who could blame the boy? He's 4 years old. But I have to ask, is that even in the book? Cujo is a very, very pathetic movie. The plot is The plot goes nowhere. Like I said, it's all over the place. There is no build up. There is hardly any scary scenes in it. Cujo completely sucks. If somebody gave Stephen King a camera and told him to make an adaptation of his book, I bet you he would come up with something more frightening than this. This this movie tries to be frightening, but it falls flat on its face. Flat on its face. And this is Stephen King we're talking about here. Stephen King. Really. If you gave the original author of this book a camera and told him to make an adaptation of it, I can bet you that he would come up with something far more frightening than this. He would give a far more frightening cinematic experience of the book than this piece of crap. Cujo is simply, it is a terrible, terrible movie. I was not impressed once. Not impressed in the slightest. And I can see why a lot of people don't like this film. I don't blame them either. Don't bother with this movie. Watch Carrie or John Lafia's Man's Best Friend instead. Man's Best Friend is a much better movie than this. Despite its flaws, the acting is good, the suspense is actually suspenseful, I might add, and the plot is actually decent. But Cujo, I'm sorry. This movie has fallen flat on its face, and it is one of the worst films I have ever seen in my life. One of the worst. It is one of the worst, people. One of the worst I have ever watched. I don't care if this movie is based on a book. If you want to do an adaptation of a book, fine. I don't care. But make sure you do it right. Something that and that is something that this movie is blind to. And you know what else? This this movie ends on a useless cliffhanger. Guys, try to end the stories you're trying to tell. The viewers aren't idiots. Come up with a more proper ending. Is that too much to ask? My rating for Cujo is a .0 out of 10. And not even 100 viewings of this video could make me change my mind. This has been my review and rant on Cujo.